This evening on OC News,
Student media at CSUF challenge rising censorship on campus.
increased minimum wages in food service have created new obstacles in the workplace.
And Spotify unwraps this year's top artist.
OC News starts now.
It's just now in tech news. First responder on police.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts.
I feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students
at Cal State Fullerton.
OC News starts right now.
Hello, and welcome to OC News. I'm Kabir Kansara.
And I'm Giselle Medina. Thank you for joining us.
Costco is suing the Trump administration over tariffs. The retailer is making its case in the U.S. Court of International Trade. Costco says it's been trying to keep down prices, but says tariffs make that difficult. It imports many items it sells and has to pay any fines on those goods. The Trump administration is trying to convince the Supreme Court to let these tariffs stand. Costco has not yet specified how much the tariffs have cost the company, and some experts say that other companies may also follow suit to try and get their money back if the tariffs are ruled unlawful.
With freedom of the press being targeted across the country, its trickle-down effect can be felt even here locally at Cal State Fullerton. I was able to investigate the on-campus impact on student media amid this turbulent time for higher education.
I cannot lie, it is a tiny bit frustrating.
Honestly, it's really upsetting.
Every university has a reputation to uphold. At Cal State Fullerton, this responsibility appears to fall largely on strategic communications and brand management. However, on-campus student media have expressed hindering and censoring experiences as a result of this enacted rule, noticing a rise in professors, program directors, or coaches expressing instruction to defer media requests.
This semester specifically, where I will reach out to an individual, and StratComm will kind of take over the interview and get back to me with their answers as a statement from the university. Instead of readers saying this is said by the person who's an expert in this, whatever quote I need to use comes off as PR, which is what strategic communications does for the university, but that's not what I'm supposed to be doing for the university.
In another instance, a Daily Titan reporter had her questions altered completely without her knowledge before StratComm relayed them to her source.
It's definitely a transparency issue because they changed all of the questions that I sent. So I didn't get the responses that I wanted. And also it's why are you changing my voice? I felt like they were manipulating this story to be told in the way that they want it to be told.
With these impassioned testimonies by reporters of the Daily Titan, what can student journalists here at Cal State Fullerton do? Well, organizations like FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or the Student Press Legal Center serve as resources for guidance or a step towards action.
If the university is not just saying, look, we have this nice service for you, feel free to use it, but instead saying, hey, we have this service for you, and if you don't use it, you'll get in trouble. Once pain of punishment is put on not going through the PR office, that starts to look more like a First Amendment violation.
StratComm offers their news media service team as a resource to the university, yet a structured mandate for student media requests is not cited on their page.
If there is a policy, we've never received anything. People, professors and staff, are just not talking to us at all. It's almost like they don't exist. And the only source of information we have from the university is StratComm.
Ask for copies of those policies, those directives, those emails, whatever they're coming in that are telling these, these folks that they can't talk. If they're not just willing to hand them to you, I would make a public records request. But even beyond the legal issues, it's just you guys are paying tuition. It's not cheap to go to school. People are supposed to be, they're government officials, are supposed to be working on your behalf. And so I think it's certainly fair to ask, what are you afraid of talking about?
The current administration is coming for higher education, and that's making them scared. I don't think limiting our voices is the right way to go about it.
Student media hold understanding for StratComm's role, but a hope for resolving clarification remains. For OC News, Giselle Medina.
Food insecurity affects over 42 million Americans. Pathways of Hope's mission is to help anyone in need with that uncertainty. Our reporter Evan Fennell has the story and takes us down the road past Fullerton Library.
Oscar Alegria faces uncertainty every day. Uncertainty either wakes up with him or wakes him up to ponder if he will ever work or walk again. And because Oscar can't do either, food has also become an uncertainty. Oscar has been temporarily paralyzed from the waist down since August. He is out of work, and with his mother at the wheel, they are taking every opportunity they can to put food on the table.
Sometimes it's difficult, but you manage.
According to Instacart's 2025 data, Monthly grocery expenses for a family of 3 could reach anywhere from $900 to $1,500, estimating at about $363 per person. Oscar and his mom went searching.
You get what you get, you know, it's first come, first serve a lot of times.
Weekly grocery shopping isn't getting any cheaper, and it's making customers forgo places like Albertsons for other pathways. That leads most people here to Pathways of Hope, where they can set up an appointment and get the food items that they need.
It provides that shopping experience to people who can't afford to go to Ralph's or Albertsons.
But even if you don't have an appointment, like, we're not gonna say no. Like, we're gonna still take you. So, like, we let people in.
Ashley is a third-year CSUF Titan herself, studying children and adolescent studies. Her duty is the same as Wendy or anyone within the building: help anyone in need with a smile. And the community notices the effort.
I mean, these are not paid employees. They're just giving up their own time and they come here. They're out to help the public, and they do an excellent job.
No crazy wait list or I was here first, just an appointment system working wonders to efficiently tackle people's needs. The Fullerton School District leases out the building at a steep discount for only $1 a year. The communal effort of volunteers, the rising demands for food security, and $29 have kept Pathways of Hope operating for nearly 3 decades. Despite food insecurity being a glaring issue in the past months for millions of Americans, there are still paths where $1 can continue to make a huge impact in the right direction. I'm Evan Fennell, OC News.
Vaccine advisors to the CDC are considering a major change to the childhood vaccine schedule. The change would potentially delay a dose of the hepatitis B vaccine that newborns receive by weeks or even years. The vaccine advisors are a group that was handpicked by Health and Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy has long spoken out against the use of vaccines. Infectious disease experts say it's key to preventing an illness that's easy to catch and impossible to cure. They say that delaying the vaccine for even a few months will drive up infections and death from the disease. So, Kabir, did you go Black Friday shopping?
Personally, I didn't, but I did get to speak with a couple of other shoppers that have their own takes on their experience.
Black Friday came and went this year, making its annually large impact across America. The classic shopper's delight has changed over time in response to fluctuations in the economy and culture. The pandemic spurred on the growth of online shopping, making it a mainstay of today's marketplace. The dramatic rise of e-commerce has kept customers comfy on the couch and out of early morning lines.
As the economy changes, consumer habits and demographics adapt. This year, online shopping dominated the market, raking in $11.8 billion in sales, almost a 10% increase from last year.
Despite online shopping's popularity, some consumers still remain partial to the in-person shopping experience based on the product they're searching for.
People like to touch and compare the diamonds because I've had a lot of customers say, oh, I ordered this necklace, and when I got it, it was really small.
Though the competition between the internet and brick-and-mortar stores is consistent, the economy they rely on is not. Fluctuating tariffs and the lengthy government shutdown resulted in changes to how companies approach Black Friday.
They have several sales a year. They don't have prices in their flyers anymore. And I suspect that's because with the tariffs bouncing around, they don't know exactly what the price is.
Beyond changes in ads for Black Friday, the demographics of spenders have narrowed to the wealthier, as represented in a K-shaped economy.
What we're talking about with the K-shaped economy is people that have money are getting more money and they're better off. And so they're doing lots of shopping. And people that are nervous about their jobs or have been laid off or had hours cut back, they're more concerned about their spending.
With even discounted prices becoming more out of reach for the average college student, younger people are changing their opinions on Black Friday.
Since they've been coming out with kind of like sale inflation and like price inflation before, like just kind of like marking the prices before they drop them down, I think a lot of it is not, like it's kind of like a scam a little bit.
Consumer desensitization of Black Friday has caused local businesses to find new approaches to attracting customers as well.
The local high school choir will perform. What's that designed to do? That's to get the family of the choir into the downtown area. And so once they're downtown, maybe they'll go out to eat, maybe they'll do a little bit of shopping.
With sales continuing through the coming days, the total impact of Black Friday this year remains to be seen. Reporting in Fullerton, Kabir Kansara for OC News.
There's a list of degrees, including nursing, that are now being considered unprofessional. Our reporter Litzy Aguilar has the story.
Under Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, the Department of Education is undermining the professionalism of various programs and degrees.
It really feels like nurses in general now, I feel like are going to get viewed a lot differently, or I feel like they're being unrecognized for like how much hard work they actually do put into patient care and like affect people's care as total versus like doctors obviously they do it, but like nurses are way more like hands-on compared to them, so I feel like being not recognized as like a profession kind of is just a little stab in the back.
Missing from the new list, there's several degrees, including nursing, that are no longer deemed as professional. This has sparked outrage and concern, especially among women, who are voicing concerns online about the Trump administration constraining access to female-dominated fields, particularly in education, social services, and healthcare.
It's kind of messed up and takes away from like obviously all the other people that are trying to like advance in their field, and there shouldn't be like any discrimination based off of your profession just because it's like a woman-led field. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Nursing has long been recognized as a licensed profession focused on patient care and its life-saving work, gaining national attention during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, due to its absence by a federal classification, it's raising questions as students at Cal State Fullerton continue pursuing that field.
As a student, we put in a lot of work to learn all the material, and we go to clinicals and learn in the hospital and see how hard nurses work. So for us to be considered unprofessional doesn't make sense with the level of education that we have to achieve, the licensing tests we have to take, and all of the hard work nurses have to do to keep patients alive.
These new changes are set to take effect in July 2026, making it more difficult and expensive for students pursuing nursing to fund for their studies by lowering the federal student loan limits, especially at a graduate level. This is Litzy Aguilar reporting for OC News.
We have to go to a short break, but after we come back, we take a look at how the raise in fast food minimum wage affected the industry.
And why do we not have a CSUF football team?
I've got an update for you on both weather and traffic. Stay tuned.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I have a question about
In typical California fashion, the winter weather can't decide between hot or cold. Our weatherman Colin Costigan has the latest. Colin?
Thanks, Kabir. And that's exactly right. It may be December now, but it certainly doesn't feel like winter here in Orange County, at least during the day. Let's take a look at our current weather. Now, obviously, as you look at it, it's a very comfortable 70 degrees. It was hanging in the mid to high 60s. Now it's up to 70, but it's that low temperature right there of 49. I mean, that's a 21-degree difference. That is massive between the high and the low. And luckily, the wind's not too bad, about 5 miles an hour. And then, of course, the humidity at 34%. Honestly, it feels way less than that. I was sweating walking over here in my suit today, so it feels very much like a dry heat right now. Now, sunrise, I was not up. I was fast asleep at that time. So if you were able to be up at that time, you would have seen it at 6:40. And if you wanted to watch the sunset, too bad. It happened at 4:42. Obviously, we're at the end of the year. Not a lot of daylight left. So if you want to catch the sunrise, it'll probably be about the same time tomorrow. So better luck next time. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Starting off with the rest of the week, it's going to still stay around the low 70s right here. It's still going to be pretty comfortable. But like I said, it's those low temperatures that are huge. Like you have mid to low-ish kind of 40s right there. That is a nearly 25-degree difference from the start and end of the day. So you might want to start off by wearing like shorts and a t-shirt during the day, and then once the sun goes down, you're back to winter wear. And then as you go over into the rest of the week, this is where it's going to get a little bit better. It's going to be 69 degrees, nice. On Saturday, it's going to get down into the high 40s, and then this is where it's going to get really bad. If you're like me, I don't like it to be warm this time of year, but it's going to be 73. It'll be a little bit more. It's going to get back into the low 50s, but next week on Monday is where it's really going to get warm. It's going to be nearly 80 degrees, and we're almost in the middle of December, and it still feels like fall, even a little bit of summer. At least the low is going to be about 54, so a little bit more comfortable. Now, as we get deeper into the holiday season, traffic will continue to get worse, so let's take a current look at the 57 freeway. Now, this is obviously right here over on Yorba Linda Boulevard. As you can see, the sun is already down. Looking over on the north side, it's gotten a little bit bad. It was a little bit better this morning, but I just want to focus on this. I absolutely hate this on-ramp right here. I don't know if anybody else does. I'm always stuck behind some god-awful Cybertruck, a Prius, or even worse, a Kia Soul. And then people always try to cut me off right here. So respect to the people that actually go through with it. A lot of people right there. And then you could see over just a little bit in the corner, it was a little bit better going southbound. It was really bad earlier today, but now with the sun down, you get it's still a little bit delayed, but it's still pretty bad over on the south side. Sorry for all you commuters. I don't have to deal with that, but you're going to have to deal with that in just a little bit. Well, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully it starts to get cooler soon. And with the sun back out, hopefully people remember how to drive. Back to you, Kabir and Giselle.
Last year, California raised the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour. But how has that change affected employees and restaurants? Emiliano Carbajal takes a closer look.
California's $20 fast food minimum wage went into effect on April 1st, 2024. While it was meant to help workers, some restaurants had to adjust staffing and prices, creating a ripple effect still felt today.
The minimum wage increase has both helped and hurt us. Mainly if you're a team member, the lowest tier, it hurts you more because you're not getting as many hours compared to the shift leads or the directors, which get a lot more hours and they also get paid more. So it kind of depends on what tier you are at Chick-fil-A.
At Chipotle, employees describe similar challenges with hours and staffing, especially when the wage increase first took effect.
It's changed because we're shorter staff and I have to cover more positions. They think the prices went up higher, and they did, and they take it personal. They think it's me making those choices, not me, it's the company.
Ever since the minimum wage has gone up for fast food, it has affected us in the morning just because our general manager has been trying to either save labor or like try to save costs, either like cutting them short or we just don't get them scheduled at all. We would get a lot more hours before. Our managers wouldn't be as strict on hours. Like we would be able to like stay and help if we did need to help like more often, but like now we would have to like leave as soon as we the time is scheduled. And also our portioning, like they weren't really on us more about portioning. So like if a customer would ask us, can I get more chicken or can I get more steak, we would be able to give them more portioning on that. But now they're more strict on us, like on how much portioning we are able to give.
Not every fast food chain had to make an increase to their minimum wage. Privately owned chains like In-N-Out remained the same. While others were cutting hours and struggling with staffing, In-N-Out and other companies like Panera Bread remain the same.
While workers saw higher pay, the wage increase hasn't come without consequences. According to a July 2025 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, California's fast food sector lost roughly 18,000 jobs, about 3% of the workforce, since the $20 minimum wage took effect. Emiliano Carbajal, OC News.
With the college football regular season coming to a close and the playoffs right around the corner, Cal State Fullerton students are missing out on one of the biggest sports in the nation. Noah Scherson is diving into the history of football at Fullerton and the cost of bringing a program back to campus.
Cal State Fullerton has been serving its students and community for over 65 years, but it's lacking one of the biggest things many other universities have, and that's football. In 1970, CSUF brought football to the campus, and it had some good seasons, winning the 1971 Mercy Bowl against Fresno State and sending 22 alums to the NFL. The success didn't last long as the team played its final season in 1992 due to the cost of running the football program.
The scholarships. So that really makes a dent into your whole budget. They got to raise enough money to pay full tuition. That means room and board for almost 80 football players. And some of them, they're out of state. So now you got to pay the out of state tuition.
Rumblings about bringing back football have spread, but in 2022, Athletic Director Jim Donovan stated that even after all the ticket sales and sponsorships, it would still cost $10 to $12 million to fund the program and meet Title IX guidelines by introducing 4 more women's teams. Big teams like USC have costs exceeding $74 million, and even smaller Division I programs like Cal Poly San Luis Obispo cost the school just under $7 million annually. Even before being cut, CSUF invested in the future of the football program.
Titan Stadium seats approximately 10,000 fans. The stadium was completed in 1992. It was originally, obviously, mainly a football stadium for a D1 football team. The D1 team dropped football after the first year of its completion. So it's pretty much turned into the premier soccer stadium in all of college.
Being one of the premier stadiums in all of college soccer, Titan Stadium was only one part of a $10 million project called the Titan Sports Complex. This complex includes the baseball stadium, a new all-weather track, renovations to the tennis courts, and a 2-diamond softball facility. But Titan Stadium is now only populated by soccer, with even some international teams and professional teams holding practices here and scrimmages. But some students want to see football come back, even at the cost.
Yes, I would want to see a football program here at Cal State Fullerton, and it being worth the price, I'd say yes as well.
Cost for students would be a $250 tuition increase, and with the CSU already in debt, there are more doubts about how Fullerton would survive in this new age of NIL. Noah Scherson, OC News.
Black Friday deals were crazy, but nothing was as wild as the trade between the Lakers and Mavericks earlier this year. Now, who was the winner of the Westby Group? Diana Vilches has more.
Thank you, Giselle. It was a wild trade. Now let's get into it. Good evening, sports fans. What a night it was for the Lakers this past weekend. They carried a home court spot in the NBA quarterfinals with a hard-fought victory. This wasn't just any regular season game. This was a group stage contest in the NBA Cup, and the stakes were high. The Lakers came in undefeated in a West Group B against the Grizzlies, Clippers, Pelicans, and Mavericks. The atmosphere was electric, especially with Luka Doncic facing off against the former team earlier this year. The Lakers acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Anthony Davis. This was a blockbuster trade. It was marked Anthony Davis to return to the Los Angeles court. Talk about adding intensity. Not only that, but Austin Reeves had a career night, dropping an incredible 38 points. He was unstoppable. Both Doncic and Reeves worked together and were the key stars in this game. Luka put up 35 points and dished out 11 assists, showcasing his all-around game. Reeves, a shooting guard for the Lakers, really stepped up. His performance was a key factor in securing the win. For the Lakers, this win was huge. It gives them momentum as they head into the knockout stage of the tournament, going against the San Antonio Spurs in the quarterfinals. But for the Mavericks, this lost things as they are eliminated from the Cup contention, the Lakers have turned this game into a stepping stone. They're playing with confidence, determination. Now, will the Lakers ride this momentum all the way to the second NBA Cup title? Only time will tell. In a shocking trend of events, an Ole Miss gears up for a shot at the college football playoffs. Their head coach packed his bags as he got a new job at LSU. The situation began with Coach Brian Kelly was suddenly terminated. Kelly was initially relieved of his duties on October 26th, one day after LSU's 49-25 loss to Texas A&M. Dropped the Tigers to 5-3. At the time, his dismissal was said to be performance-related, with the athletic director, Scott Woodyard, saying in a statement, "We had high hopes that he would lead us to multiple CSE and national championships during his time. The successful level that the LSU demands simply did not materialize. This created a job opening for their head coach position at LSU that got filled by previous Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin." The news was met with an immediate and fire backlash from fans and players on social media, accusing Finn of abandoning the team and prioritizing personal gain over loyalty, even during his opening press conference at LSU. Lane Kiffin tried to convince fans and anyone who would listen that players at Ole Miss wanted him to stick around for the upcoming CSP run. When he released a statement on social media regarding his abrupt exit, the statement explained that the team's plea to maintain their high-level performance and their coach's request to continue. Kenneth Carter denied the request, leading to the coach's departure. This decision marks the end of an era, as the coach's final game with the Rebels was set despite successful track records and the team's desire for him to stay. Another shocking turn of events in the NFL Chargers' recent game against the Raiders delivered a roller coaster of emotions and unexpected twists and turns on the field with an injury that left fans concerned. The Los Angeles Chargers added another win to their record against divisional rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chargers defeated the Raiders this past Sunday with a final score of 31-14. The Chargers dominated much of the game, showcasing a strong offense and defense that stifled the Raiders' attempt to gain momentum. The Raiders have now suffered their 10th straight loss against the AFC West opponents, a concerning trend for the teams and its fans. The Chargers, on the other hand, look sharp, executing well on both sides of the ball. However, the game wasn't all rainbows and sunshines for the Chargers. Earlier in the first quarter, the Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert, suffered a fracture to his non-throwing hand. The injury occurred when Herbert's left hand collided with the helmet of the Raiders safety, Jeremy Chin. Herbert's brief left the game, but returned after having a hard cast glove placed on his hand despite the injury. Herbert managed to gut it out, but the Raiders defense stepped up, making two crucial red zone stops. Justin Herbert underwent successful surgery on his fractured left hand on Monday, December 2nd. The timing of Herbert's injury and surgery raises questions about the ability for the Chargers' upcoming Monday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles presented a touch challenge. The Eagles have won the Super Bowl in 2018 and in 2025 against the Kansas City Chiefs. May Herbert have a speedy recovery for Monday's game. Well, I bought tickets a couple months ago, and I'm so ready for the game on Monday, but that's all for today. Back to you guys at the desk.
We have to go to another short commercial break, but when we return, we take a look at how conversations about race can shape how students approach higher education.
And entertainment anchor Miranda Palmas is in the studio to give us the latest from the glitz and glam of Hollywood.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our every day.
Coming to college can be an eye-opening experience, and conversations about race between their parents and their children can be a big factor in how they each approach some of the classes here at CSUF. Taylor Davis has more on the story.
College is often where young adults begin shaping who they are, but for many students, that process started long before they stepped onto campus.
Very direct conversation and socialization about race and about racial barriers. I never developed being self-conscious about those things, but it was just a very strong, racial pride and racial barriers kind of conversation with me. But as I moved through life, meeting other Black youth in high school and then in college, I recognized not everybody had received that same training. And I wondered how my confidence, my abilities, and my things have been influenced by those kind of conversations.
Research shows the way and when parents talk to their children about race can influence how they understand identity, inequality, and their place in the world.
Had lots of race-based conversations and who haven't, because sometimes just vocalizing it is not the best indicator. But I will say that students who have thought about it and who maybe have had conversations with their parents or their peers about it, they usually are my more vocal students in class, the ones that have a little bit of an easier time connecting racial theories to personal experiences or observations of the world.
Here at Cal State Fullerton, Dr. Harrison's studies show how early conversations at home shapes the belief, social understanding, and sense of identity that students take into college with them.
My family did talk to me about race and how it's important to treat everyone equally. And I did grow up in a diverse community around other minorities. So I was around different people, different kind, and it's treat everyone equal.
I think sometimes it's important for parents to get in front of the messaging, right? To be realistic about it, and to just answer questions straightforward. I think sometimes when kids ask race-based questions, parents, they put their own assumptions and emotions onto the question, but it's just a question. Just answer it. Answer it straight. If there's a follow-up question, answer that one too. So I guess to your point, to not be afraid of when your children start asking you race-based questions.
By talking openly about race and equality, parents can help prepare the next generation to understand themselves, their communities, and the world around them. OC News, Taylor Davis.
This past Monday, a UPS driver saved a 75-year-old man's life after a golf cart collision involving a pickup truck. A 75-year-old man named James Osterman was driving his golf cart when he suddenly collided with a pickup truck. UPS driver Derek White was driving by and spotted Osterman on the ground bleeding, which prompted him to remove his belt and use it as a makeshift pressure band to stop the bleeding. Emergency crews arrived a few minutes later and airlifted Osterman to the hospital. Officials say Osterman is currently in stable condition after multiple surgeries.
Now, let's talk about movies and music, where our entertainment anchor, Miranda Palmas, has the scoop.
Thanks, Kabir. Can you all guess which movie was the second biggest Thanksgiving opening ever? It is none other than Zootopia 2. Disney's sequel to Zootopia has topped the box office at #1. I'm going to make you feel old for 1 second. The first Zootopia released 9 years ago. You heard that right, 9 years ago. And grossed $341 million domestically. Now, the second Zootopia has grossed over $250 million in its first 12 days. Globally, however, thanks to an outpouring of support from China, the film is already second to Avengers Endgame and is the highest grossing animated foreign film ever in China. Zootopia 2 seems to be one of Disney's best films and has gained a 95% audience ranking on Rotten Tomatoes. The Jonas Brothers just hit a major Hollywood milestone, and it involves wet cement and a whole lot of screaming fans. A big milestone for the Jonas Brothers, Kevin, Joe, and Nick stepped into Hollywood history this morning, pressing their hands and footprints into the cement in front of the TCL Chinese Theater, a classic celebrity rite of passage that started back in 1927. This year marks the band's 20th anniversary, and the ceremony comes just as the trio wraps up their national Greetings from Your Hometown tour, a symbolic full circle from their early Disney-era debut to now cemented icons of the music world. For Jonas Brothers fans, it's a moment of pride, and for Hollywood, it is a fresh splash in concrete, honoring a group that helped define pop music for a generation. And that's Hollywood history, cemented, literally. Spotify users, it's time to post screenshots of your top artists all over Instagram while we all judge why you listen to Drake more than you listen to Kendrick Lamar. Spotify's 2025 Wrapped just dropped this morning, and the global crown goes to none other than Bad Bunny. With a staggering 19.8 billion streams, he's reclaimed the title of the world's most streamed artist, his fourth time topping the charts. His album, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, is also the top global album of 2025, proof that listeners didn't just stream a few tracks, they enjoyed the whole album. Trailing behind him globally, we have Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Drake, and Billie Eilish. But it's not all good vibes. Spotify is raising subscription prices in the US early next year as part of a global push for higher revenue. And back on the controversy train, the platform recently ran recruitment ads for the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. These ads had many users deeply frustrated, that sparked a wave of backlash and even talk of boycotts. In short, Wrapped 2025 is here, Bad Bunny is back on the throne, and Spotify is stirring the pot, raising prices and raising some eyebrows along the way. Anyways, I'm going to go to my Apple Music replay and post a screenshot of my top artist, which is Mac Miller, of course. Giselle and Kabir, back to you both at the desk.
Giselle, did you check out your Spotify Wrapped?
I did, and Spotify accurately guessed my age as 21 years old. I guess I love the early 2000s.
Wow, look at you. Spotify thinks I'm 37.
Why?
What can I say? I'm a sucker for 80s rock.
That's fair.
Thank you for watching OC News. Our next show goes live in just a few moments. In the meantime, take a look at our social media at OC News, CSUF, and Titan TV, CSUF. I'm Giselle Medina.
And I'm Kabir Kansara. Thank you for watching and have a good night.